Here's a strange experiment. Take any ordinary object, a coffee mug, a stapler, a rock from your backyard, and put the word AI in front of it. AI coffee mug, AI stapler, AI rock. Suddenly, even though nothing about the object actually changed, something shifts in how your brain evaluates it. It feels more advanced, more valuable, more like something you should pay attention to. Now apply that same trick to a small, obscure cryptocurrency that didn't exist 18 months ago, has no real product, and is held mostly by a few thousand people on the internet. Slap AI onto its name or its marketing, and suddenly thousands of people start treating it like the future of finance. This isn't an accident, and it isn't really about artificial intelligence at all. It's about something happening inside your brain that has almost nothing to do with the technology and everything to do with how humans process excitement, scarcity, and the fear of missing out on something big. So today, instead of asking which AI coins are about to explode, which is a question nobody can honestly answer, let's ask a much more useful question. Why does this entire category of investment hype work so well on smart, normal people? And how do you build a brain that doesn't fall for it every single cycle? Here's the belief a lot of people quietly walk into this space with: if I can just identify the right coin early enough, before everyone else catches on, I'll get in on the next big thing. It feels like a reasonable strategy. After all, some early investors in major technologies did genuinely do well by getting in early. So the logic seems to follow naturally. Find the next category that's about to explode. AI combined with crypto feels like exactly that kind of category. And get positioned before the crowd arrives. But here's the part almost nobody examines closely enough. The feeling of, "I found this early," is one of the most reliably manufactured feelings in the entire crypto marketing playbook. It's not usually a sign that you've discovered something undervalued. It's often a sign that you've discovered something specifically designed to make you feel like you've discovered something undervalued. Think about how this actually plays out. A new token launches with the word AI somewhere in its name or description. A wave of social media posts appears, often within hours, talking about massive potential, early entry windows, and countdown-style urgency. Influencers post enthusiastic videos. Group chats fill up with screenshots of small gains, posted at exactly the moment those gains are biggest and most exciting, never followed up months later when the picture often looks very different. By the time an ordinary person hears about it, the coin has often already moved significantly. The actual early window has usually already closed, and yet the feeling of urgency is somehow stronger than ever. This combination, feeling late and feeling urgent at the same time, is exactly the emotional cocktail that makes people make fast decisions instead of careful ones. Let's break down exactly what's happening here, layer by layer, because once you see the mechanics, the hype loses most of its power over you. Here's a simple way to understand why pairing AI with crypto creates such a powerful reaction. Your brain doesn't evaluate new information from scratch every single time. It relies heavily on existing associations, mental shortcuts built from things you've already seen succeed. Over the last few years, AI as a broader category has produced some genuinely massive, real-world results. Real products, real companies, real value creation. Your brain has correctly learned to associate the word AI with something significant is happening here. That association isn't irrational. It's based on real pattern recognition from real events. The problem is that marketers and promoters know this association exists just as well as you do, and they can attach the label AI to something with none of the underlying substance, simply to borrow the credibility and excitement that real AI breakthroughs created elsewhere. It's a little like a small unknown restaurant putting award-winning on its sign. The phrase borrows credibility from somewhere else, even when the actual restaurant has never won anything. Your brain reads the label faster than it reads the fine print, and the label alone often does most of the persuading. Here's a psychological pattern that shows up constantly in crypto marketing specifically. Phrases like limited early access, pre-sale ending soon, or only a small allocation remains aren't just informational. They're designed to trigger a very specific mental state called scarcity pressure. When your brain senses that an opportunity might disappear, it shifts out of careful evaluation mode and into a faster, more reactive mode. This made a lot of evolutionary sense for things like limited food or shelter, where hesitation could genuinely cost you something important. But that same wiring gets hijacked constantly in financial marketing because a brain in scarcity mode asks very different questions than a brain in calm mode. A calm brain asks, what actually makes this valuable, and is that value likely to hold up over time? A scarcity-triggered brain asks, how do I get in before this window closes? Notice that the second question never actually evaluates whether the thing is worth getting into at all. It just assumes the opportunity is real and urgent, and skips straight to securing a spot. This is exactly the mental shortcut that countdown timers, limited allocation messaging, and don't miss out language are specifically designed to trigger. Here's another layer that quietly amplifies everything else. Humans use the behavior of other people as a shortcut for figuring out what's worth paying attention to. If a lot of people seem excited about something, your brain treats that excitement as evidence that the thing itself must be valuable, even when the excitement and the actual value have nothing to do with each other. In the AI crypto space specifically, this shows up constantly through screenshots. Someone posts a chart showing a coin that went up dramatically within days, or a wallet balance that doubled, often without showing what happened before that snapshot or what happened after it. Your brain doesn't automatically correct for missing context. It sees the dramatic image, registers, other people are winning, and starts generating a small, persistent itch that says, maybe I should be paying attention to this too. Here's the part that almost nobody accounts for. For every screenshot of a dramatic gain that gets posted, there are usually a much larger number of losses that never get posted at all, because nobody feels compelled to share their failures online. This creates something close to an optical illusion. The visible sample looks like overwhelming success, when in reality, you're only seeing a carefully curated slice of outcomes, filtered specifically toward the most exciting and least representative results. Here's something worth sitting with for a moment. Almost every speculative AI crypto project comes wrapped in an enormous, ambitious story. Phrases like revolutionizing the future of decentralized intelligence or powering the next generation of autonomous finance sound impressive, exciting, almost inevitable. But here's a simple test worth applying to any project making claims like this. Ask yourself what specific, concrete thing the project actually does right now, today, not what it promises to do eventually, not what category it claims to be part of, but what real function exists in the present moment that real people are actually using. A surprisingly large number of AI crypto projects, when stripped of their language, turn out to have very little concrete activity behind the story. The story itself is the product, in a sense, because the story is what generates attention, and attention is often what generates short-term price movement, regardless of whether anything real is actually being built underneath it. This doesn't mean every project in this space is empty. It means the size of the story and the size of the actual substance are two completely separate things, and confusing one for the other is exactly how excited, well-meaning people end up making decisions they later regret. Now let's pull all of this together into the deeper idea, because this is the part that genuinely changes how you engage with hype-driven categories going forward, not just in crypto, but anywhere this pattern shows up. The reason AI crypto hype works so reliably isn't because the underlying technology is uniquely deceptive. It's because the entire pattern is built specifically to bypass careful thinking and trigger fast emotional decision-making instead. Credibility borrowed from a trusted word, urgency manufactured through scarcity language, and social proof built from a curated highlight reel. These three forces stack on top of each other, and together, they're powerful enough to make genuinely smart, careful people abandon their normal decision-making process entirely. Here's the psychological truth hiding underneath this entire pattern. The feeling of excitement and the feeling of accuracy are not the same thing, even though they feel almost identical from the inside. When you feel a rush of excitement about an opportunity, your brain interprets that rush as evidence that you're onto something real. But excitement can be manufactured just as easily by clever marketing as it can by an actual legitimate breakthrough. The feeling itself carries no information about which one you're experiencing. Think of it like a smoke alarm that goes off both when there's an actual fire and when someone's just making toast. The alarm sounds identical either way. The sound itself doesn't tell you which situation you're in. You have to look past the alarm and check the actual kitchen to find out what's really happening. Financial excitement works exactly the same way. The internal alarm bell of, "This could be huge," sounds identical, whether you're looking at a genuinely undervalued opportunity or a carefully engineered hype cycle designed to look exactly like one. This is why the question, which AI coins will explode, is, in a strange way, the wrong question to even be asking. It assumes that the goal is finding the right alarm to listen to. But the actual skill worth building is learning to recognize when your internal alarm has been deliberately triggered by marketing, scarcity, and curated social proof, rather than by something genuinely substantive. Once you can tell the difference between those two sensations, even a little bit, you've already outperformed a huge percentage of people in this space, regardless of which coins you ultimately decide to touch or avoid. So here's what to actually do with all of this, practically, the next time an exciting new AI crypto opportunity crosses your feed. First, separate the label from the substance every single time. Before getting excited about a project because it includes the word AI, ask what specific, concrete function it performs right now. If the honest answer is, the team says it will eventually do something impressive, that's a story, not a product. Stories can absolutely turn into real things eventually, but treating a story as if it's already proven is how excitement quietly turns into regret. Second, treat urgency itself as a signal worth questioning, not a reason to act faster. Genuine long-term value rarely depends on acting within the next few hours. If a project's entire pitch leans heavily on phrases like "don't miss this window," that urgency is doing emotional work that the actual substance of the project might not be able to do on its own. Slowing down costs you very little. Rushing in costs you everything if the excitement turns out to be the only real thing about the opportunity. Third, actively look for the losses, not just the wins. Whenever you see a dramatic success story, whether it's a screenshot, a testimonial, or an influencer's highlight, deliberately remind yourself that you're looking at a curated sample, not a representative one. Ask what the failure rate probably looks like for everyone who got excited about similar projects and never posted about it. This single habit alone can dramatically cool down the social proof effect that drives so much of this space. Fourth, separate your curiosity from your capital. There's nothing wrong with finding new technology categories genuinely interesting, including AI and crypto together. Curiosity is healthy. The danger isn't in being curious. It's in letting curiosity quietly convert into a financial position before you've actually done the slower, less exciting work of evaluating whether the substance matches the story. Fifth, remember that your internal excitement is not evidence. It's a starting point for investigation. When you feel that rush of "this could be huge," treat it as a signal to start asking careful questions, not as a signal that you've already found the answer. The goal isn't to eliminate excitement entirely. The goal is to stop letting excitement skip straight to action without passing through evaluation first. Here's the idea worth carrying forward. Long after this particular hype cycle fades, and the next one inevitably takes its place. The AI crypto space isn't uniquely dangerous because the technology is fake, or because everyone involved is dishonest. It's risky because it sits at the exact intersection of two of the most psychologically persuasive forces available: a credible, exciting word borrowed from real technological progress, and a financial structure that rewards urgency, scarcity, and social proof more than it rewards patience and careful evaluation. This pattern didn't start with crypto, and it won't end with AI either. The specific words change every cycle. The underlying psychology driving the excitement stays remarkably consistent, which means the actual skill worth building isn't memorizing which coins to avoid this year. It's developing a reliable habit of separating the feeling of excitement from the evidence of substance every single time something new claims to be the next big thing. So the next time you feel that familiar rush, the sense that something might be about to explode and you need to move fast before you miss it, pause for just a moment and ask yourself a simple question. Am I responding to something real? Or am I responding to a sound that's been carefully designed to feel exactly like something real? Because the people who do well in spaces like this over the long run were rarely the ones who found the right coin first. They were the ones who learned to tell the difference between a fire and someone making toast.